How's everybody doing this morning? We still engaged? Feeling good? Okay. Guys, all the information that's being passed around here, take advantage of everything that you're getting today. What's a better time than right now? Okay, if it's your business, if it's your personal life, what's a better time than right now? As Alicia is passing out that information, I'm going to kind of build a little foundation before we get into this, but there was a study that was done at Harvard that said we spend 50% of our time lost in thought. So we are either caught up in what's about to happen in the future, or we're held up by what happened in the past. So caught up in, I don't think I'm going to make it. That's 5 minutes from now. Or I don't like the way she talked to me. That was 5 minutes ago. But be in the right now, today, and take action today. Okay? Stop by these tables, turn around, and introduce yourself to the person behind you. Make connections that will take you to the next level today. Don't wait until Monday to get started or tomorrow, because each day, each hour that goes by is going to get further behind you in your thoughts. Start today. Start today. This is actually my third women's empowerment workshop. So every time I come, I always learn something new. So you guys are encouraging me, and I look forward to always being here and getting information and taking notes and adding things to myself as well. I'm going to pass around our Enter to Win form, so just take one of those, make sure you fill that out. We do have some gift cards that we're going to be giving away at the end of the day today. So I like giving away free stuff. So let me ask you one question. Show of hands. Who has a dream or a goal financially that they would like to reach? Show of hands. Everybody? Okay. Okay. Is anybody there yet? Okay. Good. Good. Dreams without goals are only dreams. And they ultimately fuel disappointment. Okay? But goals on the way to achievement can only be attained with discipline and consistency. I don't care what area of life it is, you have to have discipline and consistency to get from that goal to the achievement. You cannot have one without the other. You can't have consistency and not have discipline, or you can't have discipline and not have consistency. You have to have those things in place in every area of life, regardless to whether it's, again, your personal life, some goal you have that you want to achieve. And I feel like I'm qualified to talk about those types of things just from my own personal story. I love the introduction that Renee gave, but a lot of times I know we get caught up in titles and things like that. Personal banker. Listen, guys, I feel like I'm qualified to talk to you today because I know these things work, because they had to work for me first. So when I talk about building your credit score, I know what that feels like because I had a 425 credit score. I've made more mistakes in my finances 2 times over probably than everybody in this room, but I learned from those things. So I know that the principles that I talk about, I know they work because they had to work for me. So I don't talk from something I heard in a class or some degree I have on a wall, because I don't have those things. I know from personal experience, life's the best teacher, that these things work. So I am always willing to sit with anyone one-on-one and help you achieve your financial goals. I see a lot of familiar faces here in the room. It's always good to come and hear Ann and all the principles that she teaches. And I add some of those things actually to my financial presentations, guys. Credit. Let's talk about credit. Credit means a lot more to us today than it did in the past. Cash is no longer king like it used to be. Credit means so much more to us, whether it's for the purpose of saving money overall with an interest rate on a home or an automobile or insurance, qualifying for an apartment even. A lot of job interviews today, that's part of the process. And so I would hate to miss out on a job that I qualify for because my credit score is impeding my progress. Guys, when you do finally get yourself to the point of having that credit score in a healthy place, it's so freeing to know that, because you are probably at that point in a really good place financially from the standpoint of being on top of your finances, okay? I'm a firm believer that it's more important what you do with the money you make than how much money you make. I have people sit down in my office every day that may make $30,000, $35,000 a year, but they have a plan in place. They have a budget that they follow, a detailed budget, and they plan for the things that they want to do and they want to accomplish. Okay? I have people that sit down in my office that make $300,000 a year that can't put gas in that Mercedes in the parking lot because they have no discipline with their finances. Okay? So what you do with the money you make is much more important than how much money you make. Okay? That's something that if you grasp that concept, there is nothing outside of the realm of possibility for you. Melody really touched on it earlier with being realistic. I got out of the realm of thinking realistic a long time ago. Okay? Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. So as soon as you start thinking realistic, you just put up a barrier for yourself. Okay? So get out of that realm. People ask, Kevin, how do you go from coming from Little Muncie, Indiana, probably no one knows where that is, to Ball State, there we go, to going to the Marine Corps, to being in law enforcement, to now you're talking about finances and savings and budgeting? Because I don't allow anybody to tell me what I can or can't do. If you really know me personally and you want me to do something, tell me I can't do it and watch me show you. That's just who I am. I don't allow myself to put up any walls or barriers. I can be whatever I want to be. And so that's the thing, and that's where my passion comes from, with being able to teach you and show you how to use these tools for your finances. For your business to flourish, you got to be in control of your personal finances first. Okay? Mike from SCORE, when he was up here earlier, he talked about one of the ways to grow your business is with your credit score being healthy. So if you really study some of the affluent and successful business people, they don't use their own money to grow their business. Their credit score helps them grow their business. So if I walk into this lending institution with a 780 credit score or an 810 credit score, and I have a good business plan in place, yeah, they'll give me a $150,000 line of credit. I don't have to use my own money. My credit score did that for me. Okay? So, again, I know what that's like, because 420, 425 somewhere, it's been that low for me. But I'm at a 798 now. That didn't happen overnight. I didn't mess it up overnight. But there's ways for you to be able to get your score in line. And you don't have to pay anybody to do that. Some of these debt consolidation places and things like that you pay these monthly fees to, they can't do anything for you that you can't do for yourself. Okay? You just have to have the knowledge and the information, and then you have to apply it. That knowledge is power. Knowledge is only power if we apply it. Okay, if we don't apply, it's just information. So I think what Renee should have probably put on as a disclaimer on this event is you will, at the end of the day, have no more excuses as to why you aren't successful in your business, because you've got everything that you're going to need in the form of information and resources and connections right here this Saturday morning. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of it. Let's talk about credit score. FICO. Who can tell me what that stands for? Anybody? FICO? FICO score? Okay. I didn't know either. Fair and Isaac and Company. So they're the ones that basically put together the scoring, credit scoring system that they come up with the credit scores. Now, how they calculate and compute those things, I think maybe another person may know, because I don't know. But there's different areas that will impact your score greater than others. Now, we all know one of the biggest things is we have to make sure that we pay on time. Okay, that's a given. Okay, you have to have an equal balance, or you should have an equal balance of revolving debt and installment debt. Okay, so installment debt being something, for the example of maybe an automobile. Okay, an automobile is, I've got a 4-year term at a fixed rate. The payment every month is going to be the same until I reach said date, and that's the end of it, and then that is my property, or that's my thing. It's an example of an installment. Okay, revolving debt is exactly what it is: credit card, home equity line of credit, business line of credit, whatever. It's something that you have a limit on and a set amount, and you can use that amount over and over as you pay the balance down. Okay, so let's talk about credit card debt for a minute, because I think that's the one that trips us up the most. At least it was for me, because at 19, when I'm in San Diego, California, after I get out of boot camp, just like all college students, they do the same thing, the military. They start sending you all these credit card offers in the mail and credit cards in the mail, and they throw them at you, and I tried to catch every one of them they threw at me. Didn't know anything about credit cards or the principle. All I knew was when they swiped it through that machine on that desk, they gave me what I asked for, and I could go do it again and again and again. And then I get these bills in my mailbox where they couldn't close my mailbox at my apartment. And my phone is blowing up, and we didn't have caller ID yet. So you didn't know who that was. And they knew that if I didn't answer that phone after a while, they would call my unit and call my first sergeant. And then first sergeant is going to call me in and say, I'm tired of these people calling. I don't have time to deal with this. So Kevin, on PFC Williams, on payday, you are going to bring me X amount of dollars and pay this right now. So I got in just this whirlwind of debt and confusion. I'd never been taught and didn't understand how to fix this thing. So as I got to the end of my enlistment, my 4-year enlistment, I got a sum of money when I got out of the military, and I took that and I just paid everything that I had as far as balances and those things. I just paid it all off. I wanted to get it out of my way, get it behind me, and not ever deal with that again. That was the worst thing in the worst way that I could have handled that. The most important thing after having a bad period of time with credit, slow pays, collections, whatever, is to reestablish good credit with on-time payments with something, okay? So if you run into a large sum of money and you just pay that debt off in one lump sum, the credit reporting agencies take that into consideration. They can see that. I haven't reestablished over a period of time that I'm credit worthy. I just paid this off in one lump sum. So that doesn't make me credit worthy. So what I should have done with that sum of money is rather than paying everything off in one lump sum, I should have taken maybe 4 to 5 to 6 months and made larger payments on time to pay those things off, to start to reestablish that on-time payment history. Does that make sense? With credit cards, now this is a thing that I think a lot of us don't understand. The most important day to you on that billing statement is the closing cycle date. Does anybody know why that is? Anybody? Okay. The closing cycle date is important for a couple reasons. Number one, that's the day that they report to the credit bureau that you've paid on time and what your balance is. All 3 credit bureaus. So if my closing cycle date is the 18th of the month, that's the day every month that they're going to report to the credit bureau that I've paid on time and what my balance is. Okay? So now, if using that example, if it's the 18th and I pay on time and they've sent that up, from the 19th to the 18th of next month, I can go ahead and use that card and use it for whatever I need to use it for, just understanding at the 18th of next month, same principle applies. So what happens a lot of times, it happened to me too, is, okay, I've paid this bill on time for 5 years. I've never been late, but my credit score isn't moving. It's not going up. In fact, it's gone down, and I don't understand why. Anybody have that question? The reason that is typically what I see when I sit down and I review someone's credit bureau with them is because of the balance, okay? If I've got a $300 limit on this credit card, even though I've never been late and I've always paid on time, if my balance hovers around $290, $250, close to that high credit limit, that's the reason why you're not seeing a significant increase in your credit score going up, okay? You want to think along the principle of 25% utilization of what's allotted to you as a limit, okay? So if you use that same $300 principle, I want to be able to, if at all possible, pay that balance down to a 0 balance on that closing cycle date every month, or close to that, maybe within maybe $25 of an outstanding balance. So now I've got $300 as a limit, and my balance owed is $25 or 0, and I'm still paying on time. Takes my credit score up much faster. Okay, just that little principle right there is enough to really jumpstart your credit going in the right direction. Okay, if you aren't already doing this, at least once a year, if not more, you should be looking at your credit bureau. Okay, there's too many free sites. It's government websites that are honestly free, okay? If you go out to a site and it tells you it's free, and then the next screen they ask you for a credit card, click off of that one and go. There are too many free ones out there, okay? You need to look at your credit bureau for a number of reasons. Number one, you should always know what your credit score is, particularly your middle credit score. So we get 3 different scores from each credit bureau, okay? TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So if I just look at one of those bureaus, if I just look at Equifax, and it says that I have a 657 credit score, then that, I don't know if that's the lower or the middle or the higher of my 3 scores, okay? For example, if I'm qualifying for a home and I go into a mortgage loan officer or to a bank, they're going to look at my middle score of my 3 scores as a qualifier for underwriting guidelines. Okay, so that's one reason, to always know at least what my middle score is, if not know what all 3 scores are. The other reason, one of the other reasons, is mistakes happen on credit bureaus all the time. Now, like Renee said, my name is Kevin Williams with an A. It's pronounced as if that A were an E. Now, Mama was in her creative space with that one, so you guys call her and ask her about that. But there are still, ironically enough, there's still several Kevin Williams in the United States that spell their name the same way. So what's to say Kevin Williams in Florida, his bad credit doesn't inadvertently end up on my credit bureau? And if I'm not checking that on a regular basis, how will I ever know that? How will I ever know that that's something that's negatively impacting my credit bureau that doesn't even belong to me? Okay, so again, another reason to always check your bureau. And if you find discrepancies on there, call these credit reporting agencies, call TransUnion. All those numbers are available. I can get those numbers for you. But those are all available to you. Call them and dispute those things and get them removed. Okay? Collections. All right? Need to know what those collections are. We pretty much know anyway. You know, but we know who we owe money to. We know who we've had issues with. We know that pile of envelopes that's sitting over there that we don't like to look at. Okay? Reverse that cycle. Instead of them having to call you and contact you, you sit down and create a budget for yourself. And that way you know how much money you have to work with monthly. And you call them with a repayment schedule that you can realistically and comfortably make back. Okay? A lot of them will negotiate with you on the balance owed, because it's much better for them to get something out of that than to never be able to contact you and get anything at all. So if I have a $1,000 balance on this, negotiate with them. See what you can come up with. But creating that budget is the first place to start, guys. And that's where the turnaround had to come for me. Until I sat down and created that budget, it was never going to make sense for me. Okay? And I ran from that process for a long time because I knew I was in a bad situation with my finances, but I didn't really want to sit down and see what it looked like on paper. So I ran from that for a long time. The story of the lion and the gazelle. Anybody heard that? Every day in South Africa, a gazelle gets up and knows that if he's to survive, he has to outrun the lion that's trying to eat him. Okay? And that lion knows that if he's to survive, that he has to outrun the slowest gazelle. So every morning we get up, we're either running from something or to something. So I ran from that for a long time, okay? But once you sit down and create that budget, and you're able to then answer that question that you always have every month, where's my money going? Where's all my money going? I know I should have more than this. I'm not accumulating things. Where's it going? It's never going to make sense to you until you sit down and have that realistic conversation with yourself and create that budget. Once you do that, then you know how much money you have to work with. Then you know what areas that you need to trim some things. If it's the phone bill or the cable bill, that grocery list like Ann talks about. Most of the time when I sit down with people and I help to create their budget with them, that's the main area that I can find where there's an issue, is that grocery list. Create a detailed grocery list. Create menus for yourself for that month. Okay? If I'm going to have tacos and spaghetti and chili that month, put that within that grocery list and get every item that you're going to need for that. Okay? Because what happens? I'm going to make spaghetti tonight. I've got everything I need, but I need an onion. So I have to go to the store and get that onion. I'm 44 years old, and I have never gone to the store and gotten one item and left with one item. Okay, I'm going to get that onion, and then I'm going to get this 6-pack of Coke and this thing that's on sale. And before you know it, I leave out that door, spent $35 or $40 for one onion. Okay, so if I do that 2 or 3 times in a month, so, you know, I'm $60, $70 in now for one item that I went to go pick up that day. Okay? So we have to set ourselves up to be successful. So that grocery list, that's important. When I create a budget and I sit down and I help people create budgets, one of the most important things on there is to understand that one of the first people that needs to get paid every month is you. And you pay yourself in the form of a savings account. Okay? We have all this list of people that has a debt that we need to pay to them monthly. And we go out and we work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And we don't pay ourselves anything. We feel like, well, if it's not a certain amount, it's not going to be worth it. The amount, especially in the beginning, it doesn't matter. What's most important in the beginning when you start saving is establishing the habit. The habit is much more important than the amount. Okay? I don't care if it's $2 a payday. You pay yourself consistently $2 in a savings account, in a coffee can, a jelly jar, whatever it is. Put that money in there and be disciplined to leave it there and let it grow. And you will be surprised what that grows into. This 52-week savings plan, as you look in the packet there, I think it's page 2. Guys, this is powerful. This frees a lot of people's minds. And if you've never seen this, please implement it in your daily life, and anyone that will listen to you, you pass this information on to them so they can use this. My daughter's a college student, and she works part-time right now, and she's able to do this on part-time pay, okay? So the principle, basically, there's 52 weeks in a year, okay? And so week 1, you put $1 in the account. And then each week, you add $1, okay? So week 2, $2, week 3, $3, so on and so forth, okay? So Brittany's at about, my daughter Brittany, she's at about week 38 now, I believe. So if she's disciplined and continues to do that at week 52, the most she's had to put in that entire period of time, that 52 weeks, that 12 months, is $52. Now, if I don't have $52 to pay myself once, that's a whole nother conversation we need to have after this. Okay? So that is just a tool to show you that it doesn't take a lot. On week 52, if I do that, I've got $1,378 in a savings account. And she's doing that on part-time pay. Now, I know a lot of grown folks have been working a long time that don't have $1,300 in a savings account for themselves. Okay? And it's not that we don't have it. It's not that we can't do it. We just haven't disciplined ourselves to pay ourselves something every payday. Okay? Emergency savings is one of the most important things that I talk about when I counsel people one-on-one. You need to be ready for whatever emergency comes. Okay? And you have to put goals in place for yourself. Okay? If I have a goal, then I have something that I'm shooting towards, and the closer I get to that, the more inspired and encouraged I am, right? If it's whatever, it's a weight loss goal or whatever. I've lost, to date I've lost 145 pounds. So, well, tell you how I did it later. But the closer each time I looked, and I felt better, and I really didn't go by the number on the scale. I went by how I looked and how I felt. Okay, and so you have to have a goal. So right now, we are putting money away every pay period. It automatically, as soon as our direct deposit hits that checking account, it automatically transfers that money every month into that account, as well as the money that we have set aside for our emergency account. See, if we set ourselves up that way, there's nothing in life that we can't have. See, I never taught my daughter that, I never told her we can't afford this. Because you got to be careful what you line yourself up with and what you download into these kids. Because I didn't want her to line up or associate herself with not being worthy of it. You can have anything that you want if you put a plan in place. You know, these kids, the Jordans, you know, they got release dates now for these shoes. You know, and your school of thought can be whatever on the price of that thing, but if it's something I want, it's something I want. How do I get it? Well, if I know the release date, then I can start here and start saving. So I would sit down with my daughter and I'd say, okay, this is that thing that you want. This is how much it costs. How many additional chores is that going to take you? How much of your birthday money, good grade money, lemonade stand money, whatever it is, how much of that am I going to have to put away from this period here until that time? And we can do that with anything. If it's that grand vacation that you want to take, you know, maybe it won't happen next year. Maybe you have to plan that one a year and a half out or 2 years out. And so you may have to take some smaller weekend vacations or excursions until that time. If you put that plan in place, there's nothing you can't have. Don't put, again, get out of that realm of realistic thinking. I completely line up with what Melody said with that, what'd you say, was it a Rolls Royce or a Bentley? I want one. And I'm not going to let anybody tell me I can't have one. Now, what I do know is until I'm able to go in there and write a check for that amount, I have no business with one. Okay? And so that, again, is that thing. You spend your money on what you want to spend your money on. You have to make wise decisions. Okay? You know, I know in a lot of situations, at least the environments that I grew up, there's people that think, you know what, if I have this car, this certain car, with this certain set of wheels on it, I've arrived. I may still live in an apartment and not own property. But if I've got this car, I've arrived. Well, you got a choice to make. Do I want to drive my money or do I want to live in my money? Okay? I want to live in my money because that house is going to appreciate over time, over and over again. That's the wisest purchase that we make at any one time, regardless to what the economy's doing. Okay? I got a little nervous for a minute a few years ago because my home value went down like everybody else's did. But here in the last 12 to 18 months, you know, we're rebounding, especially in Nashville. Guys, this is a melting pot. Every week, we have people coming into the bank that have just moved into the area, okay, from outside the state because there's jobs here. You see new construction going on in these subdivisions. That home is going to be something that's going to appreciate, and it can stay in your family from now on. You know, if you're starting out with that starter home, and there's a thought process with starter home as well. If you're starting out with that starter home, don't be so quick to sell that starter home when you go to the next one. And I wish I would have done that, because if it's a 1,200 square foot starter home that you have, and you move into that next big house, how much is a $1,200 square foot apartment now go for? You know, my note on my first house was about $760 a month. I could have probably gotten $1,100 in rent and kept that as rental property and moved into that next house. So when we talk about those multiple streams of income, or as my dad used to say, more than one hustle, you know, you have to think about those things. How much is that house that you buy at the end of that 30 years, how much is it going to be worth then? What about the equity in that home to help me grow my business? Well, Kevin, why is that a good idea? What's the only interest we can write off at the end of the year? Interest that we pay on a mortgage. So if I get a home equity line of credit and use that as my business operating account, then I'm creating a tax deduction for myself as well. So if I use $15,000 out of that to grow my business, and that's my balance, I got a $15,000 tax deduction. I need all the tax deductions I could get every year. So, again, options. Options, guys. It just, that budget and creating that budget, it has to make sense, okay? Account for everything. It's not realistic to make a budget and say, I'm never going to, I'm done with entertainment and going out to the movies and going out to eat. I'm not going to Redbox anymore. That's not realistic. You have to build those things into that budget, or you're not going to stick to it. If it's going to get the hair done and the nails, if that's your thing, build it into that budget within reason. Okay? But when I create that budget, and that budget sheet there that you have in front of you, what I do is I give each person 3 copies of that when they sit down in front of me. And on that first copy, I say, you know, this is homework, okay? When you get home, on that first copy, write down from memory, off the top of your head, every number that applies monthly to you in those fields. Don't cheat. Don't look at the statement or anything like that. Just off the top of your head, what do I pay monthly in each one of those areas? And that's what I do with sheet 1. Then I turn that one over. On sheet 2, that's when the homework comes in. Now I have to go and gather all the bills that apply to those areas. And then I look at those statements. And then on sheet 2, I write in what I actually pay every month in those areas. So the aha moment in that comes in what I pay versus what I think I pay every month. Okay? And then with that third and final sheet, that's the time that we set appointment time for them to come back in, sit down with me, and we create that final budget. I treat savings as a debt or a bill to be paid monthly. Okay? That's not extra. So when you look at the bottom of that sheet, the very bottom, and it says surplus or shortage, that's a true number at that point because we're accounting for savings within that budget before that number. And I guarantee, you know, so if you're doing that and you get to surplus and it's not much left, that's fine because you've gotten everything taken care of. I've got the utilities taken care of, the mortgage, the car note, groceries, entertainment, everything. Dave Ramsey, everybody knows, okay. Dave Ramsey has a lot of good principles, and I really can appreciate a lot of those things that he does. The envelope principle, that's amazing. Has anybody not heard of that envelope principle? Basically, what that is, okay, let's say I've got my budget in place now, and so I want gas. Whatever I spend monthly for gas, I'm going to put that in one envelope for the month. And then whatever I'm going to spend for groceries, I'll put that in an envelope. Whatever I have set aside for entertainment, put that in an envelope. And so when I'm done at the end of the month or I go to the entertainment, I say, hey, I want to go to the movies, and that entertainment envelope is empty, that means I'm done with entertainment for the month until next month. Or the gas, or whatever it is. Now, my thing, in the way I think with that was always, what if I lose one of those envelopes? If I lost that gas envelope for the month, how much would that sting? You know, if it inadvertently got thrown in the trash or I lost it or whatever. So what can I do to keep that same principle in place and be safer? What about a prepaid card? There's prepaid cards that are free now. So if I use that prepaid card, or I have maybe for those same areas, gas, grocery, and entertainment, I have 3 prepaid cards that are set up the same way. I put the gas money on this one, the groceries on this one, and the entertainment money on this one. If I lose one of those cards, FDIC is going to cover me at my bank with my money. And I have a way to get that back. If I order something online, which is one of the biggest reasons why I use my prepaid card, because I can transfer money from my account to my prepaid card and make a purchase on Amazon. My good Lord, my wife and my daughter stay online buying something. Okay? And so if I transfer that money onto that prepaid card and that prepaid card number gets compromised, that's all they have access to is what is on that card. Rather than if I use my debit card and that number got compromised. And now they have access to my account, which has happened to me in the past. Scared me to death. So that's a good reason to use that. Vacation. We go on vacation. The money we have set aside, we put it on that prepaid card. If I lose it, if somebody steals it, that's all they have access to. Okay, but not everything in my account. So we got to set ourselves up for success. So You know, don't just go off of, you hear one report or someone say, oh, those prepaid cards, well, it depends on what you use it for. And there's tons of cards out there that are free. Okay? Again, talk to me about those things at the end. We can set up some appointment time. Guys, like I said, what's a better time than right now? Okay? For everything that you're getting today, what's a better time than right now? It's Saturday. Everybody's engaged. Everybody's writing notes down. Once Sunday comes, it gets further behind you. Monday is a holiday. And now, so we're into Tuesday, and it's, oh man, I'm back in this thing again. I went to some things that, what's a better time than right now? Okay? Stop by our table and set an appointment date today for us to meet next week. Don't wait to call me next week, because it's not going to happen. Okay? Something's going to happen, life's going to happen, whatever it is. Okay? The final thing I want to let you guys know is right now we do have a promotion for new business or personal checking accounts, to where if you set it up with a direct deposit and use our online bill payment system to make at least 3 of your bill payments online, we'll give you a $200 cash bonus. Okay? That's free money. I love giving away free money, especially when it's not mine. So that starts Tuesday with us, which is the 20th. And so, again, stop by our table, fill out your Enter to Win forms. Let's set some appointment dates today before we leave. Interact with these people and get some information and some contacts today before you leave. And let's start right now. All right? Thank you.